Hello, my friends, hello, and welcome once again to the thrilling Von Manor, where it's another action-packed adventure. Halls of Adventure. Another Halls of Adventure today, my friends. What books have arrived at the manor this week? Well, we're going to find out. Old Roger, he's picked up a few things. This is not as large a Hall of Adventure as usual. Because for some mysterious reason, no comics arrived. No comics arrived at the manor this week. Are you asleep at the switch over there? No comics at all? Gotta make up for this next week, my friend. All of the comics that I get are usually ordered like months in advance, so every once in a while I'll get a week without comics. It's sad, but it happens. So I did get some other cool books, though. This is kind of an eclectic mix today. An eclectic little mix of books today. So what did show up? One exciting thing did happen. I got 2 books in the mail from Hippocampus Press. This is a thing that happens, I guess, once you're on BookTube for a while. Publishers sometimes send you books. And Hippocampus Press, apparently, must have been them, I guess. They're Hippocampus Press books. Just showed up at the manor. So I got 2 books from Hippocampus Press. They're both brand new. You can get them now. I think they're both out right now. And they're both short story collections. The first one is called The Envious Nothing. The Envious Nothing. A collection of literary ruin by Curtis M. Lawson. Literary ruin. You got some literary ruin right here. So this is pretty cool. This is a nice book. Now, I have not read anything by Curtis M. Lawson before. So this will be my first time reading a book by him when I get to it. I'll have to sneak this in somewhere. I don't know where I will, but I'll sneak it in somewhere. I ought to read this book, The Envious Nothing. I really like short horror collections. So this should be fun. The Envious Nothing from Hippocampus Press. They publish some good stuff. So that gives me a good feeling about this author because, you know, it's Hippocampus Press. They usually publish good stuff. And this one is pretty exciting as well, also from Hippocampus Press. This is Black City Skyline and Darker Horizons by Barry Lee Dejezu. I hope I pronounced that name correctly. I can't pronounce anything. You know that about me. But this book just came out from Hippocampus Press, and it's got a foreword by T.E.D. Klein. T.E.D. Klein, who has written a couple magnificent books. He wrote Dark Gods, which is one of my favorite books of all time. It's one of my 100 favorite books, Dark Gods. I've got to talk about that book sometime in the near future. I don't think I have before. So I'm looking forward to this one, Black City Skyline and Darker Horizons by Barry Lee Dejezu. I have not read any of this person's work before, so I look forward to it. Another short story collection, right? Yeah. Short stories. Horror, I'm assuming, because Hippocampus Press specializes in that sort of thing. They publish a lot of Lovecraft, and they published S.T. Josie's Lovecraft biography, and so they published a bunch of good stuff. So yeah, it was really cool to get this. This was a surprise. I didn't expect this, so well, that's kind of cool. It was cool to get that. Now we'll move on to the stuff that old Roger over there actually had to pay for. So, like I said, it's an eclectic mix this week. So the first thing that I got is this book, a book I've been meaning to get for a long time. This is Life and Fate by Vasily Grossman. Life and Fate. I've heard fantastic things about this book. I don't think I've heard anything bad about this book. I think everything I've heard about this has been pretty good. Life and Fate by Vasily Grossman. So I figured since I was going to get it, I should get a nice edition. So I got this really nice Everyman's Library hardcover. They make good books, these guys. So this is the one I got, and I'm really looking forward to it. Probably won't be able to read it until next year sometime, but it's waiting for me when I get to it. Heard a lot of good things about this. Let me know if you've read this. Let me know. I'm interested. So this next book is a book. This is one of my favorite books. This is from F. Scott Fitzgerald. I have a nice Penguin hardcover set of F. Scott Fitzgerald. Most of them I got as a gift from Justin at This Just In, but I was missing this one book, and it's my favorite F. Scott Fitzgerald book, Tender is the Night. So I've got this really nice, fancy Penguin hardcover of F. Scott Fitzgerald's Tender is the Night. Now my Penguin F. Scott Fitzgerald set is complete. I've got them all. So that is really cool. They all have these like really nice, very F. Scott Fitzgerald-y covers. They're all really nice. They're all really cool. So man, I was happy to get this. It took a while to find a copy of this actually. So finally got it. Tender is the Night, F. Scott Fitzgerald. This book is fantastic. I'll talk about it in a Sunday Penguin coming up sometime soonish. So that was that. The next thing I got was from Lisa Morton and Leslie S. Klinger. Leslie S. Klinger, who did a bunch of these fancy annotated editions, but he also does anthologies. And he did this one with Lisa Morton. This is Weird Women. Weird Women. Classic supernatural fiction by groundbreaking female writers from 1852 to 1923. So this was a really cool thing to get. I was reminded recently that I need to read more horror and supernatural fiction by female authors. And so that's going to be one of the things I do next year, is I'm going to focus on supernatural and horror fiction by female authors, and I'm going to have a whole series of videos about them. So I got this for that, and I'm going to be picking up some other female authors of supernatural fiction to focus on next year. I know next year is a long ways off, but I have to plan ahead. So yeah, Weird Women. Lisa Morton, Leslie S. Klinger, editors. Okay, sorry about that, guys. I got a package, and it's way too light to be a book. I don't usually get packages that are not books. It's got my name on it. It's not ticking, so it's not from Steve Donahue. Let me get my little handy knife here. Not exactly sure what this is, so I might as well just open it up here, you know, an unboxing of this. Tarnation! It's almost time for June on the Range! My word, that's a big hat. That is a very big hat. Okay, I guess I got myself a big hat for June on the Range. So that's pretty awesome. So I got a big hat for June on the Range. That is a big hat. Okay. My June on the Range hat has arrived, as we know, on this channel. Next month is June. June on the Range, a month where we're going to focus on Western fiction. bunch of Westerns we'll be reading next month, and I will read them while wearing this ridiculous hat. Okay. I'm going to put on my normal hat now. See? Now I look normal again. Okay. I was here telling you about books. Let's talk about some more books. Okay, I've got some more books here. I got a couple books from Daphne du Maurier. Daphne du Maurier. Yeah, I got a couple books. And one of them is another short story collection. This one is Don't Look Now. Stories selected and with an introduction by Patrick McGrath. Daphne du Maurier. Bunch of creepy stories. I hear this is actually pretty good. I'm trying to remember, I think Mark at Book Time with Elvis might have read this, or he might have read a different collection. I don't remember. He might have read this one. Let me know, Mark, if you're watching. But I think he did. You know, I'm old and my memory is bad, but I wanted this because, you know, I wanted to read some of Daphne du Maurier's short fiction, and here we go. So that's cool, but I got another book by Daphne du Maurier. This is My Cousin Rachel by Daphne du Maurier. Apparently, it's now a major motion picture, or was, or is going to be. Who knows? I don't know. I just picked up the book. And so I got My Cousin Rachel. I loved Rebecca. Rebecca is the only book I've read from Daphne du Maurier. Love that book. And so I'm anxious to read more. And so this should be a good one. This is another novel, My Cousin Rachel. Should be pretty good. So there's that. Next, Kingdoms of Death by Christopher Rocchio. This is volume 4 in the Sun Eater series. I've read the first 2, so I'm a couple books behind. But this is his most recent one. I think this is supposed to be 6 books now. Originally, it was going to be 5, I think. But this one was supposed to be twice as long and got split in half because of the paper, because of how expensive paper is right now. And publishers have been doing things like that to authors like Rocchio. Christopher Rocchio isn't the biggest author in the world, even though he seems to sell out of all his books. So they made this one be split in half. And so he actually added material to this half and added material to the other half in order to make them, like, you know, read like regular books. So Kingdom of Death is this one, and it's got a really cool, creepy cover. I like this series. I like this author. It's fun stuff. It's science fiction bordering on fantasy, it feels like. At least the first couple books felt like that. They have the feel of being almost historical novels set in the future, if that makes any sense. But I like this author and I like this series, so I was happy to get this. Oddly enough, I didn't buy this. I didn't get it when it first came out in paperback. I've got the others in paperback. But when I finally got around to buying this one in paperback, the paperback was more expensive than the hardcover. So I just got the hardcover. So, yeah, I guess they'll print more paperbacks now. So, yeah, Kingdoms of Death, Christopher Rocchio. That's pretty cool. I didn't get much vintagey stuff this week because I didn't go to Pegasus or any of the other used books stores that I usually go to. But I did order one, and it came in. This is a vintagey book. This is Incubus. This is by Ray Russell. Ray Russell, who did Haunted Castles, the complete Gothic stories of Ray Russell. I read that recently for more Horror Mayhem's Gothic Week, and I loved it. And so I ordered this one, and this one looks kind of trashy, actually. This is more terrifying than The Exorcist and Rosemary's Baby combined. It's more terrifying than those two combined. The novel of sexual possession. Sexual possession. By Ray Russell. So it's terrifying. It's a terrifying novel about sexual possession. And to really ram home how terrifying it is, here's some person leaning on a banister. No! They're leaning on a banister! So, yeah, I've never seen a more horrifying cover, but apparently it's terrifying. So this is Incubus. I really liked what I've read from this guy, though, so I'm pretty excited to read Incubus. I mean, they really sell it, I have to say. Now, this is not in print at the moment, I don't believe. This is the only way I was able to find it, was to get a used copy of it. But yeah, I really look forward to this one. I might sneak this into Garb August, because this, just that blurb on its own, we'll see. We'll see. I'll have to wait and see if Criminale grants this Garb August approval. Does Criminale approve of this? Is this trashy enough? Maybe he'll let me know. Is it trashy enough? I don't know. So, here's some books that I already had. But I didn't have them with the Michael Whelan covers. So, I got the first 3 books in Edgar Rice Burroughs' Martian series, which I already had. But I didn't have the Michael Whelan covers. And I finally got the first 3 Martian novels, the first 3 Barsoom novels of Edgar Rice Burroughs with the Michael Whelan covers, which are so beautiful. This is the greatest A Princess of Mars cover in existence. It is. I think so. It's just gorgeous. And it's a perfect representation of the book. So it's the perfect cover to one of my favorite books of all time. So of course I got it. I collect Edgar Rice Burroughs books. I'll just buy them even if I have 7 other copies or 12 other copies. I didn't have this particular cover, so finally got it. It's awesome. And of course I had to get a Gods of Mars with the Mike Whelan cover. I did have this, but it's beat to hell. And so this is a nice, fresh copy. There's naked John Carter fighting alongside Tars Tarkas, fighting the plant men from the opening scene of this novel. This novel is great. This is actually my favorite of the John Carter series. It's fantastic. I love the Gods of Mars. It is just great, and almost as good as that one, almost as good, is this one. This is the Warlord of Mars, when John Carter finally reaches warlord status, which on Barsoom is a good thing, apparently. It's not so good here, but on Barsoom, on Mars, it's good. And best of all, on this cover, we have this great image of Woola. There's Woola, one of my favorite characters, the Martian hound dog, Woola. So that was pretty cool. I was excited for that. Now, I usually save my favorite things for last. And just the pure cheesiness of these last things, I had to get them. I had to get them. You see these things just sitting there. You can't not get them. So I got them. And so this is the Planet of the Apes Omnibus, Volume 1. So when the last Planet of the Apes movies came out, the last movie came out in 2017. I think it was War for the Planet of the Apes, which was good. Those 3 movies, the last 3 Planet of the Apes movies, were great. But at the time, they put out these paperbacks, the Planet of the Apes omnibuses, these mass market paperbacks that reprint the old novelizations of the films and the television shows of Planet of the Apes. So I had to get them. I would like to find the original editions of these, the original paperback editions of these novelizations of Planet of the Apes. But they're very hard to find in the wild. So I'm probably going to have to order them. So this one is the first one. This has Beneath the Planet of the Apes by Michael Avallone. Avallone. Michael Avallone. I think he was a mystery writer or something back in the day, back in the 70s. And Escape from the Planet of the Apes by Jerry Pournelle. So yeah, Beneath the Planet of the Apes, Escape from the Planet of the Apes. In the first Omnibus, Omnibus number 1, there never was a novelization of the Planet of the Apes movie. They just packaged the book up, which I've got right here, by Pierre Boulle, even though it's completely different from the film. They could have done a novelization of it, but they just, they already had the book, so. But it's way different from the film version. And so here is Volume 2, Planet of the Apes Omnibus Volume 2. This one's really thick. This one has Conquest of the Planet of the Apes by John Jakes. John Jakes did this. Kent Family Chronicles. John Jakes did the novelization for Conquest of the Planet of the Apes. It's funny, a lot of established writers will do novelizations. I think Orson Scott Card, didn't he do one? Didn't he do The Abyss or something? Established writers, sometimes they'll just do novelizations. And John Jakes did for Conquest of the Planet of the Apes. And we've got Battle for the Planet of the Apes by David Gerald, or Gerald, I don't know, one or the other. And then we have the terrible, terrible Planet of the Apes 2001 version by William T. Quick. That was a terrible movie. I'm not going to judge the book, though, because I haven't read it. The movie was pretty... It was by far, the 2001 Planet of the Apes movie was the worst Planet of the Apes movie ever made. I mean, by far. I liked most of them. Didn't like that one so much. So, yeah. This has that in there. I don't have Volume 3. They didn't have Volume 3. So I had to order Volume 3. So Volume 3 will be showing up on Halls of Adventure eventually. But they did have Volume 4 with General Ursus on the cover. There's General Ursus himself. I think that's Ursus. Yeah, that's Ursus. So this one has the novelizations of some episodes from the cartoon. There was a Planet of the Apes, there was a regular live-action Planet of the Apes show that was on for a season. And then they had a Planet of the Apes cartoon. And these are novelized episodes of the cartoon. Visions from Nowhere, Escape from Terror Lagoon, and Man the Hunted Animal by William Arrow, whoever that was. He was doing novelizations of cartoons. So that's what this is. And the one I'm missing has the novelizations from the live-action television show. So that's a lot of Planet of the Apes, but it's not all the Planet of the Apes I got. I've got one more book, the last book in this very eclectic and strange haul. And that is Death of the Planet of the Apes. Death of the Planet of the Apes. This is an original novel by Andrew E.C. Gaska. Revealed for the first time the terrifying final days of Taylor. So this basically takes place during Beneath the Planet of the Apes, but it's showing you what happened to Taylor. And it also shows some other stuff, and it shows when the spaceship, Taylor's rocket ship, was found by the apes. Was it Galen? I think it was Galen. Dr. Galen found his rocket ship and was able to figure out how it worked. And that's how we got the film Escape from the Planet of the Apes. So this is a lot of stuff happening on the Planet of the Apes that we never got to see in the films. Behind the scenes stuff. Death of the Planet of the Apes. Because, yeah, spoiler alert, the whole planet goes boom at the end of this one. Beneath the Planet of the Apes does not have an uplifting ending. Beneath the Planet of the Apes was probably the most violent rated G movie ever made. I don't know if it's still rated G, but when I was a kid, I had the videotape and it was rated G because no one bothered, I guess, to watch this movie. It was incredibly violent. It has like a Sam Peckinpah ending where like people and apes are just shooting each other and there's blood everywhere and it was a massacre. It was incredibly violent and rated G because, there were apes in it, I guess. I remember that. Anyway, that was a tangent. So yeah, Death of the Planet of the Apes. My cheesy finish to this odd haul of adventure. Don't know what I'm going to have next week, or even if I will have a haul next week. I'm going to try to cut down a little bit on this fella's book buying. You know, otherwise, I'll have no room in the manor. Yeah, we'll see how well that goes. Okay, guys. I will catch you next time.